we've had a great conversation, but I want to shift a little bit. Let's talk about something a lot more fun, something that you're, I'm sure, excited about. Let's talk about this new movie that you got going
Mm,
on.
yeah.
Like I said, Alan Klingbeil. I always say his last name wrong.
It's
I think this.
Klingbeil, but don't worry. I question as well, making sure, but it's Klingbeil.
Oh, so I got it right. Okay, all right,
You
Alan, don't slap me. All right,
Jamal Lewis, Laith Washlegger is in that. Laith Washlegger just got done doing a Rob Gronowski biopic. He was on their most recent Duracell commercial. And just to let you know, as we're going into this, two things that are guaranteed that every person in this world will have. Every person in this world has, whether it becomes a parent or not. You will always have an ally. You will always have an adversary.
Yeah.
One way or another, they will show themselves. So
Oh,
that's why I always say to people, don't stress, because when someone is ready to go out and to attack, you can have a clean sweep reputation of a pope or a monk. When someone wants to violate you, destroy you, oh yeah, they will find ways to lay weapons against you. So that's why I'm saying, as someone who's 50 years old, having had lived a half a millennium on this world, as long as you don't have a guilty conscience, get.
100%, 100%. I agree. It's crazy that we have to be like this, but it's something that I've learned. It's like you have to roll with the times, and I think unfortunately a lot of older people, they kind of forget that, right? And they get caught up in that nuisance. And again, Denzel, he has every right to speak his truth. He's earned it, and I think for him, he is not where we are when it comes to technology and social media. And I'm sure he has a lot of media training, but even for him, he's not immune to it. Keanu Reeves, one of the nicest people everybody ever talks about Hollywood. He's not immune to it. I've learned that there's always going to be somebody who just don't like you. And they may not just like your energy, they don't like how you look, anything. They just don't like you, and they will find any way to discredit you. And it's unfortunate, but it's just human nature. And
Yeah.
I think that's why people like you, and just in general, I want people, if they take anything away from this, it's just be careful what you put out on social media. I don't post my public life. People don't know what I do outside of podcasts and acting. People don't know where I live, and that's because we just live in a society now where people want to compare themselves to each other, and if they see you're doing better than them, they need to take you down the peg. And I don't get it, but like I said, it's the era we in. It's unfortunate, but you know what? We're gonna have to roll with the times. But speaking of rolling with the times, I'm gonna jump back to, let's talk about this film that you're doing. Let's do it.
Thank
Let's
you.
do it.
Yeah, big shout out to Mr. Troy Skinner for the opportunity. I never thought after all these years I would ever be back in front of the camera again. And I'm excited because I thought that the passion to be an actor was gone.
Right.
Never thought. You got to figure this out. So what? 36 years later, like
It's been that long.
36. Yeah, well, I was 14. I mean, I fully left the acting career, I would say, at 16. I fully
Gotcha.
left it. My mother was very supportive, and that's why she started to go to auditions and started going and to, the projects that was going on and things that were happening. Like I said, I will always have a memory of her and I, as an extra in the court scene. Yeah, so it's about Sean Armstrong, played by Jaamal Lewis, the former NFL athlete, and to me, my interpretation. You remember the movie with The Rock when he went back home and all that drug and the strippers, that film where
Are you talking about Walking Tall?
Walking Tall? To me, that's what the film's vibe kind of has. I don't want to, it's out there. Choice shared about it. Alan's been sharing about it, but it's, Jaamal playing this guy, Sean Armstrong, and he's going back to his roots. He's going, I have it up here. It says Sean Armstrong has retired from the SEALs and visits his brother Scott. Sean meets his brother's pregnant fiancee, Cynthia, who introduces her sister, Jasmine, to Sean. Sean tells Scott he's tired of fighting. He lost too many people in his life that mattered. Sean rides off on his bike after a brief argument between him, Scott, and their heroin addicted brother, Antoine. Innocent lives are taken. After he visits his mother and father's graves, Sean stops by a bar to drink a beer and bumps into his high school sweetheart, Mari. Ooh.
Oh yeah, gotta have the love interest.
Ooh. Now, can I tell you where I fit in? No, I mean, the choices created a couple more scenes for me, but it's exciting. I mean, it's there on IMDb. You can check it out. It's Choices got some interviews. I know that there was an article published on Distract TV, and now we've got yours. So yeah, you are the first and official where I'm dropping this golden gem of myself in this project, and I'm excited. We were talking earlier before, like I'm looking at, all right, what hairstyle does Congressman Walker have? So I'm just going to grow it out. I'm just going to see what happens and see what Choice says. And if I need a buzz the side a little bit, keep the top a little long, I have an idea that Congressman Walker, to me, it's almost like taking the John Travolta from Pulp Fiction. And then it's like taking a little bit of that, adding some Godfather into it. That's how I see Congressman Walker. He's this seasoned congressman, comes from a background, that 70s, 80s background, that Pulp Fiction, a little bit like John Travolta, just has an edge, some fun and flair, but yet there's this Goodfellas, Godfather edge to it as well. Like you assume he's one way because he's a congressman, but behind the scenes, he's this other way that just like what we deal with in this world today, smoke and mirrors, baby.
Right.
You tell the world what you want them to think, feel, and hear and believe about you. So
Yeah.
You and me, I'm going to say we're not like that. I'm enjoying not being like that. At one time I was like that, but with Congressman Walker, yeah, I'm looking forward to unleashing whatever I can unleash as an actor that people can't say, oh, Steven, you weren't politically correct. Oh, Steven, no. I'm playing a role.
It's
You're
acting.
offended? Why are you offended? It's a role. It's a movie. You telling me it's real? You telling me your story somehow of what I said or did is real? Ooh, TMZ. You want to do an interview? Let's talk about it. People really set themselves up. That's the biggest thing I see. People set themselves up in such a way without even thinking about it. They have so many TMZ moments. They have no idea how they just uck themselves. And you don't have to do anything but say something or ask something.
Yep.
So we'll see what Congressman Walker does and who he triggers.
It's gonna be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait. It's you know what? I'll tell you this because I had that same experience, right? I remember and I haven't posted it on Instagram in a few years, but I remember I got cast in this project, Stars in New York. It was shot by the lovely Olive Nowinski. And so I was doing the character I never thought I'd do. And I played a homophobic, guy walking down the street. I'm calling out, two lesbian, the two actresses who's playing two lesbians, and I'm very homophobic. And honestly, for me, I don't think, oh, I'm gonna get canceled or anything. But later on down the line, when you see all these people getting in trouble, you kind of like, oh, if someone sees this, I'm thinking a casting director will think I'm homophobic, I'm sexist and all this stuff. But for me, I enjoy it because it's different. I know I'm not like that. People who know me know I'm not like that. And if you get to know me, I'm not like that. It's acting. And you're right. I think some people, they see these type of roles and they think, oh, we got you, Steven. We've been waiting. We finally got you. But it's art. it's part of the job. It's part of creating, something for people to enjoy. And sometimes you're gonna do roles that not everybody. It's not gonna be the fan favorite,
Oh
right?
no. Oh
You're
no.
not gonna be Spider-Man every time you get cast into something. But if you make it believable like that, real quick, it's funny. Not Liev Schreiber, his half brother. I'm forgetting his first name. What a phenomenal actor, and I'll never forget when he played a character in Law and Order, terrorizing Mariska Hargitay's character. People hated this guy. They was flooding his Instagram. You go on Reddit, you look up his name. People calling him crazy. He's a psychopath, but it's because he did such a good job that he made people feel that way. But if you watch any other project, you kind of forget about it. But it's just people, I think they get so invested that they forget. And I'm excited to see what kind of how the movie turns out, how the character work comes out. And I want to ask you, what is it like, to go from being the guy who represents your clients to now you're getting to work with one of your
I am
clients.
the client. Yeah, like
Yeah,
I know, but while doing radio and media, that's what I enjoy. Is I believe that is, and you hit the box of nails, Percy, through the board with one hammer swing on that. Is when I work with someone, they know that I am not just opening up my mouth and sharing from a representative perspective. They know that I know because I'm in their shoes as well. I'm auditioning. I've been auditioning for Big Brother since 2010. I'm still wanting to get on that show. I auditioned for The Survivor. I'm with an agency, so I get stuff in. I put up my green screen. I'm doing my edits. I'm sending in my reels. I may not be public about it, but I'm not
right,
here. I've got my own radio show. I'm not just here as a rep, so I know what they're going through. I know what they may be going through if there's something that's coming up or going on. I mean, once again, we live in a world to where I've reached a point, to speak for myself, that I am going to have fun. I spent the last 50 years restricting myself, being politically correct, being who I truly am, but making sure I don't offend people, but making sure that I'm not a fraud by not being my true self. And since we are in a place where it can neither be confirmed or denied, if the green M&M is offended by the green Grinch for being nasty and unloving and heartless, well, then I think we all have the right to go ahead and say, let's go for it. Because the
right,
green M&M hasn't sued the green Grinch. The green Grinch hasn't sued the green M&M for being too happy and sweet and loving. But that is the lunacy that we're in. And I literally, like, my whole new Christmas and New Year's is, what is my life going to be? Getting rid of the fear and the expectations, and making sure that no one has a reason of thinking or believing that I could be a threat, no matter how much that I want to do what's right and to do what is my responsibility as a publicist and a journalist, to follow the rule of law and a code of ethics and a duty of care. I know that there will be a person or people in this business and outside of this business that will see that as a threat. So I have two choices. Either I play by a rule that I think that they want to already premeditatively have set for me to know or think and believe I'm not a threat, or just come to the table as myself, which I always have done, but I never fully sat at the table. Today, this is the first official interview that has given me the permission to completely show up as Stephen Cuoco. That's given me the complete permission to show up as a publicist and a journalist and a media personality and an author and everything I worked for. And it's not just about those titles. It's not just about those accolades. It's that is all of me. And I want to be able to share it with the right people. But there have been times to where I have done interviews on major networks and they only wanted a certain portion of Stephen, a certain personality of Stephen. Either it's the author or it's the publicist, or someone may want me to share something of, childhood trauma and going through adoption, which I'm done with that. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm no longer going to be talking about and sharing, you know, about my past. I did with you, but there was a reason. And I think for the most part, I would encourage people to get out of um, this whole training that we know that there are certain things. One starts with a T, ends with an X, of people using trauma to sell books, of people using trauma to sell memberships, of people using trauma to book speaking engagements. We don't need to be in a world of trauma anymore, and there's different ways that trauma can be used, um, for benevolent reasons or malevolent reasons. And I hope, and what I'm very glad in this, that you use your platform, Percy, for benevolent reasons, for really good intentions. And that's why I chose it, because I feel your spirit and your ooey gooey goodness. And it's exciting. It's exciting where podcasting is going. It's exciting where that there are people like you, whether you're doing it for fun or a hobby or education or school, or just doing it because you believe that a platform such as the Prince of Fresh Air, Mr. Percy Brown, is that you're going to emulate the responsibility of putting forth something that, whether you are a journalist or not, whether you're college accredited or not, that doesn't matter, but you're going to be as objective and responsible and have that care to allow someone to feel so positive and good about themselves and comfortable that their story, their mission, their belief or belief system, some way, somehow is going to, one, allow others know they're not alone, whether they come out from the darkness or not. And number two, that there is going to be hope, that one way or another, they will be able to find the right person, the right people, the right opportunities to plug themselves in and channel their greatness. And that's why
Oof.
podcasts like yours is going to keep flourishing.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and this podcast is flourishing not because the light just went out, but because of people
You're
like
so sweet.
I had to. But you know what? This is what makes it fun, right? And like for me, I look at it as I don't try to treat this as a gotcha moment. And the reason why I got into it, right, was you know being an actor is very creative, and I wanted something during my downtime when I'm not on set doing something that I can use the things I've learned and my personality, my voice to kind of do something else. And I think for me, I want to treat everybody with respect, regardless if you're Steven, who have over 300,000 followers. You're working with celebrities, or you're a celebrity actor who been in multiple movies, or you work at fast food. It doesn't matter to me because everybody has a story, and I think everybody's story needs to be told, and everybody needs to be respected. And for me, I think it took me a while to understand that and to kind of get that kind of brand and idea to this, but I couldn't do it without people like you. People who are willing to come on, share their wisdom, share their experiences, share their success, share their pitfalls at times, because these are the type of stories that people want to hear. They don't want to keep hearing about the partying and I blew my $500,000 check on a Ferrari. People want to see the people behind the curtain and understand how did you get to that point. And that's why for me, I take an initiative to get everybody and to get everybody's voice on here, because I think everybody's story is unique and everybody's perspective is different, and we need to embrace it. This whole society where you all have to follow the same thinking, and if you don't, you're an outlier. We gotta get rid of you. You know, I may not be Joe Rogan, but this is the most charismatic experience, and we're doing it differently. So
Mhm. I
I'm
want you
trying.
to be like Joe Rogan. I want you to, and I'm not, I want you to be you. Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan. Everyone has their own style. And I'm going to honestly say, when you're able to be fully in control of, and I mean, there's three levels of people in life, and this is just the ultimate understanding. There are the God complex people that you will never hear about or know about. They don't have social media. They have unlisted number. You may never be able to find their address online. And I say that because those are the ones that, when we think about, who's really controlling the world, and they say there's what, 6, 7 families that are allegedly controlling the world. Then you have your puppet masters, and then you have your employees. And unfortunately, and I don't want to have to use that word, but I have to. Unfortunately, there are more people that are comfortable with an employee mindset to know that they're got guaranteed security, guaranteed paychecks, guaranteed contracts, and that they have a life and a lifestyle and an image that's not going to be threatened because they're out there doing what they do as an employee.
Right.
It's when they say, who really has the power? Is it the king or is it the court jester? Keep in mind, the court jester is the publicist. That's the one that has all the power. So the ones who believe they're gods or they're kings and queens and all this royalty, they don't have it. They have vulnerabilities and weaknesses as well, because they're sitting back and they're watching and thinking and believing that all of their employees, no matter what role they have, that they're keeping their operations and their power and their gold in alignment. So they have a sense of, I mean, with all due respect, and I hope they don't take offense by this, but if anyone thinks that Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, any of them do not have vulnerabilities, I guarantee you they have vulnerabilities. There's no way they are that put together.
Right.
Being as influential and being who they are, the more powerful, the more royal that someone is or they believe they are, the more vulnerable you are. The employees are the most dangerous of them all, because they're the ones that are operating the ship. And that's the biggest fraud of them all, that people actually believe that they have no power because other people have used status and finance and whatever else to say, oh, here's the type of lifestyle you need. Here's this type of lifestyle we believe we think you need. Here's something we think you deserve. And, so many people bitch and complain about the government, but who built the government? The government didn't build the government. The people built the government. So what are the people bitching and complaining about if they're just going to sit back and complain? If you've built it, you can tear it down.
Oof, that's beautifully said. I don't
If
even know how
someone
to
has
follow.
been given, if someone's been given power, it can be taken away.
Absolutely.
Now, just in case, here's the PR in me. Just in case, if anybody with the government or someone wants to report that little clip, I am not advising anyone on record to do a coup. I'm not advising anyone to do anything criminal. I'm not advising anyone to stand arms, because Stephen Cuoco said, well, if you built it, you can demolish it. But keep in mind, like the Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, if you built it, they will come. So just build it and just hope that the right people, the right opportunities, and the right circumstances that are there or could be there, that you are ready for, because you are leading by example. Remember, my grandfather said, learn everything you're passionate about, be someone very hard to compete against. Don't be that person that someone is either going to sue or attempt to violate or attempt to discredit or anything else, knowing that if there is something in latency that could cause harm, don't do it. Don't get involved in it. Don't support it. If someone has an issue with Luigi, I sometimes I get his last name and then it misses. But you get like, don't engage with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Luigi Mangione. Don't engage with it, because it will come back. God only knows of all these people that are obsessing over him and supporting him. You think the government's not watching all of these videos? You think the government's not taking down your name? You think that just because you only have 343 followers and you're posting yourself, which they are, people making birthday cakes, they are taking it all down. My family works at military background, law enforcement. They don't assume that it's something you're sharing innocently, of sharing a Luigi Mangione birthday cake or celebratory cake is not being analyzed. They are guaranteed behind the scenes.
Mhm.
The FBI and whoever else is looking for people that could be connected to Luigi that are not apparent on social media. Everybody on his social media who he's following and followed were investigated and researched.
Of course.
But people don't bring this up. People don't talk about it. They think that, oh, if someone doesn't have a lot of followers or if they're a single at home mom, no, everyone is guilty. Everyone is guilty. That's the world we live in. Everyone is guilty.
No.
It's not you're innocent until proven guilty. You're treated as guilt. Because if you're not guilty to prove, here's the whole point. Here, I'm just taking a fact. If you are not guilty, they say you're innocent until proven guilty, then why are
Right.
you locked up in a prison? Why are you locked up in a jail if you're innocent? Why were you arrested with handcuffs? That doesn't make sense to me. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, of course.
You're innocent until proven guilty, but you're
You're treated guilty.
you're treated as a criminal anyway. So it's like and that's the whole point. That's the world, that's the life that we live in. So just have fun. Just have fun, do what's right, and don't get yourself landed with handcuffs and locked up.
And if you do, and then you die, get it?
Or you get great media and press and everything else like that, and someone will just obsess over you and you'll become a major celebrity. Do you know what would happen to Luigi Mangione if he got out? The contracts he would get?
Of course. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You see, this is the thing. You know, when you do things right, you don't, like you said, sometimes when you play by the rules, it just don't work out. But when you break those rules, for some reason, it seems we live in a society where people get rewarded for the most. 20 years ago would be asinine. Now it's common courtesy. You murder somebody in the middle of New York streets and you're a good-looking guy, you get a book deal, you get paid television appearances, but you'll get an actor who's trying to make a name for himself. He won't get none of that. But it's like I said, that's the downside of this society. But I always try to say and always try to keep positive, because at some point I do know it's going to change. I think we're in a weird timeline, if you want to follow the Spider-Verse, if you will, the multiverse in the MCU. We're in a weird space, and I think eventually I think it will get better. I think once that the dopamine hit of social media starts to calm down, we're at the high point. I think when it starts calming down, people will start to shift. But who knows? Because with technology, as we get more sophisticated AI, sophisticated phones, more social media platforms, and people are being able to make money all types of platforms. I don't know. I'm curious to see what the future looks like 5-10 years from now, because when I was a kid in 2007, I thought all this would be something like futuristic. Now, a regular cell phone, a regular, iPhone 11 Plus is a standard. It's not even something, worth anything now. Everybody got it. But 5-10 years from now, I'm curious to see if social media following, if the followers you have means more than who you are as a person. Does chasing the viral moment give you fame, fortune, and things that people who are putting in, the hard work to do? It's going to be an interesting few years. And, I know I'm part of that generation that kind of, exploded social media, but it's like I said, it's a catch-22 to everything. It always is. So
Well, here's the thing. You got to figure decades ago, the biggest thing was morning cartoons. If your parents could afford buying you a Cabbage Patch Kid, having G.I. Joe and Star Wars and 80s comedy, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, things like that. I mean, honestly, the 70s and 80s, despite the way certain things were that I had to deal with, environment and family, really magical. You understood why toys were made, where they were made, why films were made. You understood and learned about who the makeup artist was, who the DP was, who the casting director. Now everything is fast fashion. No one's putting any care into marketing. No one gives a crap except, why why do we need to watch a remake of Annie? Why do we need to watch a remake of Roadhouse? They're just methodically taking one generation and utilizing people from the current generation who are well known, and are putting it together thinking, okay, well, we're going to get maybe the boomers, definitely the Gen X, because that film came out during a Gen X era where it was really popular. And then we're going to take certain stars from this generation, the millennials, and maybe Gen Z, put them both together, and then boom, multi-million-dollar budget.
right.
Where I was going to go earlier real quick is, it's about consumership. Even people who are absolutely wealthy, and I have met multimillionaires and billionaires who seem to have everything, but most of them are very lost. They have nothing to work forward to. If we think about Apple, or if we think about Android, it's always, oh, what's the next one that people are going to consume? What can we do to say, this iPhone is going to be better than that iPhone series? And honestly, if anybody thinks the government or technology or Elon Musk or someone is going to give the public people that are out there burning down buildings, robbing stores in broad daylight, busting open like crime the way it is, like going in, walking out of stores with shopping carts. Do you really think the government, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, any of these people are going to give people a type of tools and technology where they can overpower those that are making it? No. So if anybody thinks that you're going to ever get in your hand something so exclusive and something so powerful that no one has, well, the question is if you do have something, let's say you, Percy, you have a new iPhone series that I don't have, and something that is not even out there on the market, then why are you getting that? And what are you using it for? Everything has a methodical plan and reason to it. Everything, no matter what it is. You had a reason to interview me. I had a reason to be here. It was in good nature, but everything has a reason. And the most important thing to close by saying is understand what that reason is, and understand and hopefully exemplify the purpose of it, to know that however many years or days that go down or happen, in your lifetime, that, think of Marilyn Monroe, think of Elvis Presley, think of, Jimmy Carter, who just passed. The question is, what sort of legacy you're going to leave? I know for myself, no matter how much people find out about me, how silly and I have a Jim Carrey personality about myself as well, blend in with a little bit of a Richard Pryor type of comedy. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to finding out and how to channel these areas of Stephen Cuoco through acting, because I think that it's amazing. I think people can, and I know will relate to it, because even though I'm Gen X, I understand your generation, Percy. I understand people, because that's what I'm interested in. That's what I do, not only as a publicist and a journalist. I understand the psychology of understanding human beings and the nature of why they do what they do, because I want to know what I'm in for when I leave my home. I want to know what I'm possibly stepping into when I get in or out of my vehicle, or I'm going into the gym or the grocery store.
Right.
So just care. And I just really hope that, let me entertain this real quick. I'm going to go, let's see. Am I getting a half? Oh no. Oh,
Copyright.
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, okay, so far so good. No half naked men except for Luigi Mangione.
You
Still
spoken
posting
into
his
existence.
Oh, let me go. Let me go here. Hold on real quick. Is it still paying attention? Okay. I'm only seeing, let me go to my explore page. Okay. I'm only seeing what I want to see. So far, so good. And keep in mind, if I'm going to see, and I'm going to put this on record, the only time I want to see a half naked person, especially a man, is if they are competing in boxing or MMA. Other than that, there's no other reason why I should be seeing a half naked man. Whether I'm into a guy or not, there's no reason for it. Why?
Right.
So please, I hope someone from TikTok, Instagram, Looney Tunes, I don't care, outer space understands. Stop pushing naked men on me that are doing silly little things for gay baiting or gay for pay. I am not interested. I have it myself. Look at should I zip it down a little bit? Should I show? Yes. Ooh, do you want to see that little rip muscle underneath there? I got it too. Shit, if I put a pair of Calvin Klein underwear on and I don't need a fluff, I think I would blow a lot of people's minds because you wouldn't think, hey, I don't look like Henry Cavill. I don't look like certain people. I mean, but still, I mean, they'll be surprised. That's what I'm talking about. I am not going to stop to hold myself back. If I'm going to have this be put in front of me, then don't bitch and complain if I have a comment about it. Just like
Beautiful,
you personally, you look fabulous the way that you do, but don't assume what's underneath that shirt ain't just as good or not better than what we're seeing online.
I know it's better. That's why.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Let the praise begin, baby. Let us all praise it.
Exactly.
Percy, you are awesome.
Stephen, it's been wonderful. We could talk for hours. I know you got things
I know
to
you're going
do.
to turn this into a two-parter, right?
Yeah. I got Denzel Washington call me up like, hey, you mentioned my name on the podcast.
He's
I'm just trying
awesome.
to do it. Yeah.
I don't see how anyone can talk crap about Denzel Washington. I would love to represent him. There's so many people I would like. I even what happened to Liam Payne. I'm thinking like and I think about Britney Spears. I'm thinking, geez, I wish I was part of that team. I don't know if I would have been able to change anything, but I know I would have added value. I'm looking forward to the day when A-list celebrities start coming more to me because they know that I'm going to be there for them. And I'm not saying that to judge the people that's already representing them or who they're currently with or if they're not with anybody. I just know and I see constantly, especially in our industry, I see so many people that can do so much more and be so much more. And it just always ends up a tragedy. And if it's going to be, let it be by that person's hand. Let them take responsibility for it. Now, what? 5 people are getting sued for the whole Liam Payne situation.
Yeah.
So that's my whole point. You can't avoid everything, but do your best not to be that person that's being held accountable for potentially, being part of the problem.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to let you know if anybody is an addict, if they're an alcoholic, whatever it is that they are, just know if you're going to be working with me, or even if you just are going to have a conversation with me, I don't enable anybody. I'm not going to sit back and be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. You snorted that Coke. Oh, okay. It's okay for Diplo to talk about that. He just did a drop of liquid acid on live TV.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you this, journalists, and they are at the mercy of the media company. Journalists will never, for the most part, you can have every question planned. You can have every scenario considered as though you've got a military op happening at the moment. Nothing, especially in the media, nothing will ever be ironclad. And that is why it is imperative for every single person that the representative that they're working with, or agency or studio that they're working with, that whether it's Matthew McConaughey or Nicole Kidman or Jennifer Lopez or whoever it is, that they have a clear understanding as to what they're getting into. It's not prepping them just for the questions. It's not even about that. It's for them to understand, here's the news outlet, for the representative to research the journalist that they're getting interviewed by, to understand what sort of content, what can they find out, even to watch past interviews. How it really is like setting up for a military mission. You have to speculate, estimate what could possibly be, and if there is a possible pivot that could happen in that interview, or a possible question. I mean, someone just posted something on about Ariana Grande. She was in an interview and she was asked a question she wasn't prepared for, and she called them out on it. That's the thing. You may not always be prepared, but no one can tell a story and answer the story better than you. Don't leave it up to the reps to have everything perfectly planned to keep you safe, because it's not going to happen. And if you tick off or upset the wrong media outlet or the wrong journalist, they will never ask you your opinion again. Watch every single news story.
Yep.
Army Hammer is proof of that. Army Hammer. Oh, what happened to him?
Yep. There's a lot of people like that, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. But I had to say Army Hammer because that's the most recent, and it popped back up again because he's working again. So here it is. All this stuff resurfacing, and the language that's being used in the headlines. But keep in mind, media companies, their legal and fiduciary responsibility is to the shareholders, investors, and more importantly, to investors, shareholders, sponsors, and advertisers. Advertising controls the majority of the narrative. That's what it's about. They need to be guaranteed a call to action for clickbait in order to pacify and satisfy advertising. So it's not the media companies that control it. It's not the journalists that control it. It's the advertisers that control it. The look, the style, the feel of all the content.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the shit hits the fan, that's when the shareholders and investors step in.
No.
So there's all your golden nuggets, everyone.
We started on 2025 with a lot of information from
you sure did. And don't complain if you have any problems, because you had problems because you didn't give me a call.
Beautifully said, Stephen. I couldn't sum it up better.
Remember, you see my mural back here? It's all about people. It's all about the narrative. It's all about the narrative.
It's all about the narrative. And your narrative has been positivity, being real, being truthful, but most importantly, enjoying life and doing what you do. And thank you, Stephen, for coming on, because like I said, it's at some point we need people like you who have success, who have a career, who've been there, done that, seen things, to really come down and speak to people, because we often in our society we put people on a pedestal, and those type of people don't often always come back and touch the people or reach back to the people, because they forget about how they got to where they were. And it's always nice to see people who are very successful still take that initiative and that approach of, I'm not better than anybody else. I will be willing to, talk to anybody and share my voice with anybody, because at the end of the day, it's not just about you. It's not just about the clients. It's not just about, the productions I'm doing. It's about just bettering other people and, being there for other people, because that's how we make society and our cultures better. And if we don't have that, then, we might as well just go back to the Stone Ages. So, it's always refreshing to hear someone like you. And, we could talk for hours. We could talk for days and months and TMZ. I'm sure we'll find something to
I'll come back on again. Yeah. Hey, I believe the world is ready for me. And this interview proved it. The world is ready for me. I truly believe that. I believe that everything I've gone into has set me perfectly to deal with the emotional, mental, and spiritual beauty of this world and the battle of this world. I am fine sitting down and having cake and coffee and a kumbaya. And I'm an Aries baby. And I am very fine to get ready for war. I am not scared of a battle because I've been through stuff people will never be able to take from me again because I've already survived and thrived it of those who attempted, even by those that are closest to me. So I am ready. And thank you for being that angel, being that that blessing for this brand new life that God has for me. This role that I've been forged like diamonds. It's all about pressure and time, and it's my birthstone. I have been forged to be who I am to the best of my ability, and I'm ready. And thank you for putting it into fruition, because you got to think of the Trinity is when you think it, feel it, believe it, that's the Trinity. And if anything that you learn, whether someone's religious or not, or believes in Jesus or not, the divinity comes at you where you have to take physical action. And this is that physical action. And I want to thank you for that blessing because you've got me activated and ready now.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I'm here. And Stephen, before you go, let me just say, talking about being activated and all that. Your total bill will be 4,000. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh, don't think it won't come back around, because let me tell you something. I will remember. I will always remember this. I remember. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, you will always have me as an ally. I'll let you know when you no longer do. Oh, I'll be transparent. But you will, from this day, even before this interview, I always felt that you're an ally. I always felt and believed that you're someone that I would be more than happy to hold close to me. And you have my respect and you have my support. You can reach out to me anytime. Don't even worry. Nothing is too big or too small. You are a blessing, and you're going to continue, whether you're aware of it or not, Percy, you're going to continue to flow with such grace that you're going to give people like myself and people who hope to be like us that are going through such darkness. You're going to continue to be that light that's going to break through.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And it's wonderful to go into a new year, new me, but the same approach. And that is to tell people a helping hand is a better hand. Stephen, anything before we wrap this up? Thank you again for the kind words. But I don't want to end it on my words. I want to have it to you. Anything you want to share, anything you want to promote, anywhere people can find you, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you. So once again, Stephen Cuoco, Cuoco. You can go to stephencuoco.com. That's my public relations page. Also, Power 98.5 satellite radio, power985.com. You can download the app, tune in on Alexa. It is also on Streamer, and my radio show, Live on Air with Stephen Cuoco. You can find on any one of your favorite podcast platforms, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Apple Music. As always, everything social media, Stephen Cuoco, StevenCuoco. And unless you are a professional MMA fighter, a boxer, or even a wrestler, please do me a favor. Make sure I don't find your half-naked porn OnlyFans style content anymore. I would, and please, Instagram and everyone else, let's keep it about people like Percy. I only want to see sports. I only want to see media. I only want to see film and television. Please, please, please reach out to me if you ever really want a real dedicated representative. Thank you.
Beautiful. You don't gotta go home, but you can keep your clothes on. Please. Thank you, Stephen, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. We'll have you back on. And let's ring in the new year, 2025. Stephen's positive energy, the most charismatic man. We're doing it. This is going to be a 2-part episode. Let me just clarify that. So, by the time you've seen this, you've probably seen part 1. But, thank you again, Stephen. We're going to have you back on. We're going to continue to talk and connect and, make more things happen. And that's what the bottom line of 2025 is. Make things happen.